I guess I'm more under the understanding is that the laws and constitutional rights that were set for this country were for the citizens of that country.
Okay. So, and you want to update it to make it so that undocumented immigrants don't have due process rights?
I firmly believe that.
Okay. Why do you support Trump?
Well, I think a lot of the things that he's started out trying to introduce and change were great. I do think he's come off the rails a little bit, but um, so do most other presidential candidates. So um, I just think that he's on the same page that I am.
Okay. And how is he on the same page as you?
Um, there's a lot of things. I mean, the borders. I think that we should contain our borders and people should follow the law that we've set to get into the country. I also believe that we should have more of a military force to keep people at bay and to make sure that we're safe. Um, I do not like the division he started because I would like to see the United States be one solid unit, but that's very hard to get.
Okay. I have a question. How do you feel about Trump's administration deporting people who are without due process? How do you feel about that?
I think that if they have entered the country illegally, then they should have to follow the law like everybody else. I don't know that I know what you're saying. Should they go to a judge and jury? Um, but if somebody robs a bank, yes, they have that jury. But these are laws that we've set for the country to keep us safe. It's just like the laws for terrorism. We've done a lot of bad things for terrorism, but we've tried to keep the country safe, and the changes we've made have helped.
Okay. So I want to know like what changes specifically. Like what and also like can you tell me like how do you feel about him violating due process? Do you support that? Do you just want to get more undocumented immigrants out of the country? Do you think the legal process takes too long and that's why you want to subvert the legal process? What is the reason?
I guess my main reason is just that, like I said, it we have laws set in place for a reason. And if we have terrorists in the country, we can deport them without due process. I'm not saying that all immigrants are terrorists, but if you did not follow the rules to get into our country, we don't know who you are. So we have to send people back to their country and let them follow the rules to get back in.
No,
I
I'm
mean,
asking you, but does Trump need to follow the rules when sending them back?
I mean, I thought I. So when we deport somebody for a crime, do we try them first before we send them back, or do we send them back to their country to be tried?
No, 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 no. It would you're supposed to have like a determination of guilt in this country, right? Because
Right.
the
Well,
determination of guilt is that they came to the country unlawfully, right?
correct.
Praise the galaxy. Thank you very much. So that would be the determination that needs to be determined through the context of judicial. It's not just going through the executive. Okay, so that's why I'm saying that the Trump administration has subverted that process to a greater extent.
It, I guess in my mind, we should always follow the rules, be it immigrants or our government. And if there's something truly unlawfully, I would agree with that. But I'm saying deportation due to breaking the law um, is something that should be considered as a, you know, go pass go, collect $200 kind of thing.
Okay, I don't think that you're understanding my criticism here. My criticism here
Okay.
is that if you're saying that undocumented immigrants need to follow the law, then doesn't Trump also need to follow the law when it relates to immigration law?
Sure, and that's what I said too. Is that I do believe that, um, and I guess I'm not 100% understanding of what laws there are as far as deportation. So maybe that's my fault.
Well, so
Um,
essentially what I'm saying is that like the 14th Amendment establishes that every single person in the country gets due process, right, which includes undocumented immigrants.
mm, I they're not lawful citizens.
Yeah,
I
but that
mean,
doesn't matter. They
our
they still get due process. That's what the 14th Amendment is established.
so what due process do you want? Do you want them to go to a courtroom and everybody go, "Yep, they don't have the paperwork. Let's send them back."
I need
I
there
mean,
to
is
be
that
judicial confirmation of the executive claims that they're in the country unlawfully. Because if we just
oh,
leave
so,
it up to the executive branch, well, then they can make wrongful determinations without any type of accountability.
okay? So I can kind of agree with you there.
Yeah, this is
Um,
just checks and balances.
Correct. So if I say Bill is here unlawfully, somebody should verify that before we send Bill back. I agree with that.
Yeah.
So I guess I agree with you on that point.
Okay.
Um,
So then the point that I'm making is that not only does that need to be verified, but also, right, if you're willing to subvert the legal process in order to violate undocumented immigrants' due process rights, in order to be able to make the mass deportation process go quicker, then why wouldn't you think it's justified for an undocumented immigrant to come to our country to the process undocumented, even though, or because of the fact that it would take too long to go through the legal process? Because like I could say the same thing, right? Just because it takes long for the legal process, that means it's justified to then violate the said legal process.
yeah, I guess I'm more under the understanding is that the laws and constitutional rights that were set for this country were for the citizens of that country.
But you disagree with the Constitution then?
I mean, yeah, there's other things I disagree with as well.
Okay.
It's, I mean, it's not a perfect document. It was written quite a while ago. And there's a lot of things that go on today that aren't inside there that should have been or should be. I mean, we should update the darn thing every so often.
Okay. So, and you want to update it to make it so that undocumented immigrants don't have due process rights?
I firmly believe that. I mean, if you're not a citizen of the United States, our laws should state that you go back to the country. And I'm not saying deport everybody. If you're here as a legal citizen, perfect. That's how it should be.
What about legal
And
permanent residents?
I don't, that's not the same thing. I mean, it's not. I mean,
I
if
mean,
you're here legally and you have the documentation, you should be here. You're an American
I
citizen at
agree.
that point.
So, how do you feel about the fact that the Trump administration has tried to remove legal permanent residents from the country for engaging in pro Palestinian advocacy, which a federal court deemed was in violation of Mahmoud Khalil's First Amendment rights?
I mean, yeah, that's a whole different subject. Um, I'm and everybody should. I don't understand why everybody's not on the same page here. Is that we all should want the country to be as safe as possible because there's going to be a point where we are going to have an enemy, which we probably already do, that is planning some catastrophes for our country. And we should be together on the same side as far as making sure our country is as safe as possible.
That would mean Trump isn't president because Trump's tried to undermine our democracy, our rule of law, our constitution, our fundamental American values, and he's called for the execution of some Democrats because they said to follow the law and to not follow unlawful orders. ICE is murdering people in broad daylight on the streets, and they're justifying it. So
I
the
don't
idea
agree
that
with
we are
that.
less, or we are more safe now, I think is absurd.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we are. I do agree with you there because I think we have more enemies than we did before President Trump. Um,
How do you feel about Trump being allied with North Korea now?
yeah, yeah, I can't. You got me there.
Yeah, that's something I honestly never expected. I'm gonna be totally
I
honest. Like that, when I saw that today, when I woke up, I was like, "Holy shit, dude! What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah, I just watched the video before I got on here, and man, yeah, I don't know. I can't again, and I don't think any Trump supporter can sit here and say I agree with everything the man does, because you shouldn't. There should always be things that you don't agree with, because if you agree solely with one person, you've got other problems. Um,
I mean, I think you can agree with someone.
yeah, on most of what they're saying,
Yeah,
but
of
there's
course you're
always
never
going to
going to agree with someone on absolutely everything.
correct, correct,
It may seem like that based upon some small levels of conversations, but inevitably, if you have enough conversations, there will be one point of disagreement.
sure, sure, like yeah,
It's
um,
typically on how things are like framed or how we explain things or communicate things. That's typically like where the disagreements would probably land.
absolutely. And there's also the misunderstanding where one person might say something as a statement instead of a question, and that starts a whole uproar between those individuals. Like you can tell me that you don't agree with Trump and that you don't believe anything he says, and he should be in prison. And I'm, as the person I am, I'm going to say those are your rights. You can think whatever you want, and you might be true on some of those facts.
But like if the
Um,
Trump administration is undermining some of those rights, isn't that fundamentally against this country?
I will say yes, but I don't think he's the only one that's done that. I think we've seen that throughout the years, president to president. There's always something where one of them is breaking the law. They're always breaking the law. So I can't hit Trump on that because, like I said, I cannot agree with everything he does, but, things happened through other presidencies that were just as bad. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say it's the
So,
lesser of two
like
evils,
what?
but I mean, this is not, you know, I, um, let's just say Monica Lewinsky. I mean, I know that's not federal safety, that's not government safety, but that isn't something that was against the law that happened.
You mean
Let's
him
see.
perjuring himself? I'm confused. Sir,
Yes,
I'm confused the relevance of that to the conversation.
it's well. You asked me what presidents have done to break the law, and that's one thing I was
Oh, sir,
listing. It.
sir, what
It's
was
not the
against
same.
the law was the
I know it's
perjuring in that context, right?
right.
Okay.
I know it's not the same thing.
Oh,
Trust me. I know what
okay,
we're
okay.
dealing with.
Also, like, let's just be real here. Like, this isn't the only circumstance of Trump breaking the law. He's also broke the law in prevention of the Epstein files being released.
You know,
Right? Like
sure.
he literally is legally obligated to release all the Epstein files, and he's purposefully not doing so. He's a convicted
Sure.
felon. He
I
incited a
mean,
violent insurrection at the Capitol, pardoned violent rioters who beat police officers and called them patriots.
I don't know about that.
He did do all of that. That's true. Like on his first day in office, he came back and pardoned the violent rioters. Those are domestic terrorists that he released into the country.
Again, I agree with you. I mean, there are certain things that I can't argue because they are not right. I mean, um, I don't know. I, you make great points. Um, I guess the election will just have to come down to the data given on both sides. I'm a Republican, but I am not a Republican that is a die-hard Republican. If there is a good candidate on the other side that I believe will help our country, I would be more than happy to vote for them. But
Yeah,
if I
I think that
feel that,
was Harris over Trump, and I think it was one of like the most obvious elections, right? That Harris was the preferable candidate. That's the reason why we're still having these conversations is because I think it's good to go back to have these conversations because the fact that anyone even decided to make this determination in the first place is concerning. Secondly, like this is what the leader of the Republican Party is currently, and anyone who's going to be the candidate next time in 2028 is going to be downstream of the very MAGA movement that Donald Trump is leading.
sure, I agree. I'm hoping that if we do have a Republican president coming up, I hope that they do make their own decisions, or at least some of them. I know a lot of decisions are controlled by others. I understand that. But I hope that our government can be more lawful. I really do. And if I made a wrong decision before, maybe I'll make a right decision next time.
Okay, for sure. Like, given that the election was held today, would you say that you wouldn't vote for Trump?
No, I'm 70-30. I would still vote for Trump right now, because I haven't seen. I mean, we haven't seen what our other options are yet.
Oh, was the other option. So, like, I'm asking you in that context, like, what is so bad about Harris to you that means that you think that Trump is a preferable candidate?
I'm not that well informed. I'll tell you that right now. I don't know right now, and that's my fault. And I'm going to take time to find out.
Okay, all right. Well, you're welcome to do so, and then you're welcome to come back up whenever you do so.
I appreciate it.
All right, appreciate you coming up.